What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Guys, last night was a fun night because we finally got a chance to see the blogger photos for the Artisan Joker from Hot Toys as well as their sculpted version. Now, I haven't been quiet about the fact that the Hot Toys Joker, for me, at least the DX11, is really what got me into Hot Toys collecting. And I've always been an unabashedly huge fan of Heath Ledger's Joker, one of my favorite movie villains of all time. But I gotta say, I've got some updated thoughts with regards to this figure, and in comparison to the in-art version or even the old DX11 from my original video, the this or that I did about a year ago. So I wanted to give you guys some updated thoughts. Stick around if you like the video, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and let's get into it.
Oh, pardon me, but it's
Ben Thomas Showtime.
Let's go.
Alright everybody, welcome back. So, like I said in the intro, the DX11 Hot Toys Joker is truly what got me into 6-scale collecting. I remember the first time I saw that floating around some websites, and for me at the time, I had never seen a figure that had likeness the way that the DX11 Joker had. To me, it was an absolute screen rip from the Dark Knight films. When I was younger, I saw the Dark Knight films in theaters. I'm not kidding, I have 14 ticket stubs as proof that I saw it so many times that I absolutely loved it. And when I talk about that nostalgic punch in the chest, that's certainly top of my list. Now, I've wanted to collect every version of the Joker that's been released over the years, at least to the best of my ability. I've never gone down the custom route, and honestly, I've started to consider the custom route because there are some amazing customs that exist out there in the 6-scale market. But if you want to go with a company that is licensed and recognizable, then Hot Toys is often the choice for most people. Now, 2 years ago, we all started to really get that in-art Joker in our hands, right? That in-art Joker was a divisive figure at the time because not only was it the first for the in-art company to come out with, but they were going through that purple-coated Joker phase again, and for the most part, at the time, most of us were very happy to see it because the last version had been the DX11, and we honestly needed an update. As much as I love that older figure, there was definitely room for improvement, especially with potentially rooted hair, die-cast weaponry, better tailoring on the outfits. Like, there was a lot of room for improvement, and I thought really honestly in-art delivered that, especially when we got products in hand. I still to this day have my 2 in-art Jokers right in behind me here. I think that the in-art has a fantastic ability to dial in their tailoring. The stitch work is really strong, and the paint applications are fantastic. Now, I also loved their rooted hair at the time, but Artisan has come to Hot Toys, and we haven't had many Artisan releases yet. In fact, I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the Anakin now and some of these other versions that are out there that we're all just anxiously waiting to see what they're going to look like in hand. I was surprised because the Imposter Joker from Artisan line came before this version for collectors, which I thought was very surprising considering this pre-order went up before that version, but it gave us that first taste or first look at what the Artisan head sculpt could look like from Hot Toys. Now, today's This or That video has everything to do more with the Hot Toys release, that Artisan figure or the sculpted version, because I know a lot of you out there, especially if you've experienced an in-art figure or just a rooted hair figure in general, it may have turned you off them entirely. To be honest, I'm one of those people. I haven't had a great experience so far with my rooted hair from in-art. It's gotten fluffy over time. I haven't enjoyed styling it. Like, there's just not a lot to it. When I saw these blogger photos, credit to the blogger people for Hot Toys on this round. I think all of these photos from the Hot Toys release look fantastic. And I know for sure so many of you guys, especially the ones who maybe held off on buying in-art, have been desperately waiting to get a purple-coated Joker in your display. Some of us are a little fatigued by this figure, to be honest, because a lot of us have had this now a couple of times. I'm in that boat. I literally have my DX11 Joker body sitting beside me headless just because I'm not sure what to do with it. I don't necessarily feel like I need 3 Jokers in my display, but I gotta say, seeing these final photos, some of my updated thoughts here. My original take on this was that I didn't think the likeness was as good as InArt. I actually thought InArt had a better likeness. I thought InArt had better rooting. I thought InArt had better tailoring. But I was comparing a figure that I had in hand to a prototype. How do I feel now? Well, I gotta say, I actually think that the likeness is now superior on Hot Toys. A man can only admit when he is wrong and ask for forgiveness. I gotta say, I do honestly think I see Heath Ledger's face in this sculpt more than, of course, that InArt version. I've notoriously kept my InArt facing the ground so that you could only see portions of his profile in the display, which is not an indication of my love for the likeness. But what about the rooted hair versus the artisan hair? What do I like more there? To be honest, I think I partially like the sculpted hair more, surprisingly. I'm leaning more towards it. One of my criticisms of the prototype for this figure was that I actually thought his hair was a little bit too bushy, a little bit too long. It just wasn't quite right in the hairline. I think the coloring is pretty good. And I don't love the sculpted look because it does look a little bit like hair noodles. But I like that it's a bit shorter. I like that it's pulled back a little bit better. I think that the hairline on the sculpted is slightly improved over the artisan. But that's not to necessarily knock either one. You may absolutely love the artisan more, and I can understand the argument for why. It definitely gives more of a realism to the character, that immersion feeling, right? When I have people who are non-collectors come into my display, they typically lean towards that Joker because it's like, wow, it looks like he even has real hair. That's crazy, right? Yeah, well, I get that. Again, sculpted hair can break your immersion, but poofy hair can break my immersion. And one of the reasons I think I like that sculpted is I think it's just a little bit closer to my brain's, my mind's eye version of what Heath Ledger looks like. But I have to say, if I took the hair off this sculpt entirely, I do think that the likeness is, so far, the best that's available on the market. I do. Does this make me want to buy this figure? Yeah, unfortunately. And I only say unfortunately because, once again, DX11, I've got 2 Jokers behind me from InArt. Do I need a 4th Joker? I do have the J&D Joker still on order through 1/6 Kit, which, to be honest, is mind-boggling because the price on that thing is freaking insane. I wouldn't recommend that figure to anybody based on that price point. I am 100% going to take a bath on that figure. I already know it. There's no way I'll ever resell it for what it's worth if I don't like it in hand. It's a $2,000 gamble. From the prototype, I still think that the J&D one is superior. It will remain to be seen when that one eventually comes out in hand. But what Joker would I likely stick with? I would honestly be considering at this point moving in an art figure on at least one of the 2 packs that I've got, if anybody would buy it separate or broken out, for a Hot Toys replacement. I've also thought about trying to just get this Hot Toys head to go on the DX11 Joker body, because what I will say is that I don't really feel like Hot Toys has overly improved the tailoring on this figure all that dramatically. One thing that is improved is the purple coat for sure, and you can see it here. It's better dialed in, the proportions are a little bit better. It doesn't look as much like a bathrobe as the original DX11 Joker did. Like, that one is very bathrobe-y. This one is still a lot more in the vein of a suit jacket coat, but that is one area that I still think InArt actually takes the win on. I think that the tailoring for InArt is still better. I like the shoes more on this version over the InArt version. The one thing that I wish this figure had really truly come with, and it's too late to be wishing at this point, and I get it, but for the sake of conversation, I wish that this had come with a laughing sculpt over the tongue out sculpt. I know that Heath Ledger made the tongue licking his lips thing a very iconic part of his character, because he had naturally really dry lips with all the makeup, and he used it as a bit of a tick to create character in that universe. And I thought that was great, but in figure format, I think it looks a little weird. It doesn't really look like he's licking his lips. He looks like he's sticking his tongue out. And I don't love the look, so I don't think I'll ever display it that way if I get this one in hand. I would have really preferred a laughing sculpt like the DX11 had come with. There was a very vast difference between those two sculpts. It was a huge criticism I had with the in-art. Those sculpts were too boring. They were too the same. My friend Shane over at 16Figure Focus, he got two of the same sculpts in his box, and he didn't even necessarily know it first. We had to all compare just to be able to say, yeah, dude, like, I think that's slightly the same. They're only slightly different to begin with, which is not a good thing. If you're paying for two sculpts, you should get two vastly different sculpts. This one, you only get the one sculpt with that tongue, but again, I don't think it's enough of a look separation. I would have really liked to see that laughing piece. The other thing is that the accessories with this figure are kind of just boring. I like the way this art box looks. Credit to the person who put this up on Facebook earlier today. I think it looks great. I love the way that they're containing the head sculpt within the box. I think that's fantastic. But I also gotta say that, like, the accessories are boring. We've got them now several freaking times. How many pairs of handcuffs do I need? How many of the same guns do I need? How many of the same stacks of cash do I need? At least with the DX11 back in the day, it came with a table and a chair setup and a lamp, and like, you could recreate a scene with it. This feels very samey. Very, very samey. So the only reason I'm really tempted to truly buy this is because I think that the likeness is improved. But I don't know if that's enough of a reason to spend such a large amount of money to get it. Now, you could argue once again, Ben, you've got the J&D coming. What are you even talking about? And even I think it's a dumb choice. But the only reason I went with that one was because I was flabbergasted by how good that prototype face looked in comparison to what had existed. But full transparency, I'm 100% thinking about canceling it and going down the custom route at this point. Because while I think that this Hot Toys version is still now the best likeness that exists, I don't think it's the best hair that exists. I don't think it's the best tailoring that exists. And I find that the accessories, for me, are just very rinse and repeated and a little on the boring side. So while some of you out there are really sick of talking and seeing this Joker floating around, like you would have loved to see a Nurse Joker, or really just honestly another character at this point. But for the people who didn't go down the in-art route or didn't go down a custom route, they did need an updated Hot Toys version, and this one certainly does not disappoint. But my question is for you guys. If you're going to pick up this figure now, if it's still available, if you can find it, if you haven't already ordered it, or maybe you've got this in your order already, maybe it's paid off and you're just waiting for it to finally ship. Was it this being the Artisan hair? Was it that being the sculpted version? Which Hot Toys did you choose with this release? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. But if you liked the video today, guys, it was a short one, hit the like button, smash the subscribe if you're new to the Ben Thomas Show, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. For once, we've been...
Well, what are you doing? Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Because subscribing makes you feel good.
Where shall I go? What shall I do?
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
It's gone. It's all gone.